All right, the First Amendment. Let's talk about it. Unfortunately, I think we need to because it's kind of been in the news lately. So, the First Amendment, probably the most important amendment, it protects your right to religion, but it also protects your freedom of speech, your freedom to say things, whatever you want to say. There's been this discussion lately about hate speech. In fact, Donald Trump had said something about hate speech and making it illegal. Pam Bondi talked about making hate speech illegal. I want to be very clear about something. There's no such thing as hate speech. You can say speech that's hateful, but it's not a category that's illegal with the government. In fact, hate speech itself is protected by the First Amendment. Why is it that you can see the Ku Klux Klan, for instance, marching in public? Why can you see open neo-Nazi groups marching in public? Because of their right to assemble and their right to speech. Now, the freedom of speech isn't needed to protect speech we all agree with. So, the opinions that most people share are the opinions that the government shares because, in all honesty, the government probably never would come after you if they agree with your speech anyway. But it's to protect the speech they don't like. It's the reason we can criticize the government. It's the reason we can attack the president or Donald Trump or anybody in office because of that First Amendment. And nobody can take that away from you. They can try to intimidate you. And that's what we've been seeing. When we see people, the president, for instance, suing news organizations because they got some story wrong or they were unfair to him in his mind, they could all win every one of those lawsuits. But instead they settle simply because what Donald Trump tries to do is to get them to simply spend money or spend effort, and it's cheaper just to settle. So they do that, and then Donald Trump can claim victory. And then anybody else that would maybe write a negative story starts thinking twice. Maybe I don't want to write a negative story because Donald Trump will sue me. But it's their First Amendment right to do so. It's your First Amendment right to say things that nobody likes, to say things that are unpopular. That, by the way, is really important because it's obviously important for us to be able to have our opinion about the government. But it's also important because it dispels and stops violence. If you have to suppress what you believe and you're not allowed to say it, it makes violence and violent outbursts much more likely than if people have an outlet to go out and to say their positions and to try to convince the rest of America to buy them. Think about the First Amendment's protected all kinds of things that later end up becoming mainstream that used to be considered maybe against what the government wants or against what people want. But that's your right. And so all these news organizations that bow to Donald Trump are doing a disservice to the very amendment they claim to defend. But the main thing I want to say is this: do not be intimidated. Donald Trump, MAGA can try to say they're going to come after you because they don't like what you say. Let's be very clear. They can't do that. The First Amendment is very cut and dry, and it says you can say whatever you want. Even if the rest of us hate it, it is your right to say it, and the government cannot come after you for it. Now, if they try to intimidate you, that's up to you. If we give them power that they don't have, for instance, the power to censor, the power to stop what you say or how you say it or where you say it, if they can do that, then they do have the power because we acquiesced to them. We gave it to them. But if we recognize that without us handing them that power, they don't have any, then they are exactly what they are. They're powerless. So it's important that we remember how important the First Amendment is to our ability to gather, to convince each other, to discuss this. And no matter what they say, no matter how much MAGA or Donald Trump tries to intimidate you, there's nothing they can do to silence you or take your voice away. So now is the time when, instead of backing off or instead of slinking away or instead of being quiet, now's the time we double down and we use our right to freedom of speech. It was hard earned by many, many people and hard defended by so many more. You think about from World War II through the Civil Rights era, through everything, people have put their life on the line to defend your ability to have your opinion and your voice, even if it's unpopular, even if it's something we all hate. It is still the freedom of every American. So keep that in mind, celebrate it, defend it, and don't back down. Don't be intimidated. They have no power against you.